this computer. There we go. Thank you. All right. So yeah, we can set those up to be able to tell it what kind of data we want. And in that case, we could set it up where we have a version of the developer that doesn't include the language, a list of languages. We could also change it where we can have the language system not return the developers when it returns the item. It can return just the language data, which would be more useful for our developer item. When the developer item gets languages, it should specifically get the smaller version language. It should have a get smaller item of it. So those items we'll be looking at in a second. We'll build one of those as well as an alternative to this. So that way, when we do pull the developer, we don't get all the language data. We get just the language's name and tag. We don't need the developer list when we're pulling it forward as the profile. So for example, when I go back to the Postman over here and I get developer 1, we want to make sure that this is what we see down here is what we want. We don't need to see the languages. But now I think since I turned off those items, hold on 1 second. So hide this for a second. Put that back to what we had yesterday. Reboot. Send. Oh, wow, you get up in like a millisecond. Wow. So, okay, mine's still doing that right now because we don't have them. But when I do put it in, we get the list of developers we don't want. Right now, it's not getting it because we don't have a get languages, and our language system doesn't have the get developers method in here. So that's why it's not returning the developer list. But we want to make sure we get this, even though we have the get developer list, because we do want to make sure we can get developers when I pull a specific language. Did we make a get one on our language one?
No.
We didn't? We can do a get by ID on languages?
I think that was it. I don't remember you making a get one.
Well, I did. I did.
Oh, you did? Oh.
And note how our get one isn't returning the developers as well.
Oh.
But in this case, we do want to see what developers are doing this language, right? In this case, I probably want to see what developers. I'm probably grabbing that language so I can do a filter on, hey, find me all the developers that do this language. So I might want that. So those are the things we might want to be able to update. So that's something we're going to look into in a second. But we also have a way of telling the system, hey, this list that we have here is going to be put into a JSON system. So be careful when you're pulling it and only do one direction. Pull from one direction. So we can identify a list as a managed reference, and the other one can be the back reference, saying, hey, I'm the thing that's being referenced. I'm the thing that this item is managing. And so it's one direction. For example, with the developer, we want to see the languages and stuff. So in this case, I'm going to go ahead and say that this is the managed reference. I'll also add in the setters and getters back, the setters and getters again here. And under language, I'm going to put back the back reference, and I'll go ahead and add in the get developer stuff like that. Over. Goes back. I'm actually going to test the set from the developer side. We'll see. All right, I got that. All right. I'm going to pop back over here now. I'm going to do first the get developer. We'll see, I get the same behavior right now because I told it, hey, go ahead and pull the languages from there. It's the one directional reference. When I go back to here and I pull the 1, why are you not pulling my developers? Did I not reboot it? I didn't reboot it, did I?
What's this one here?
There we go. Started in 3.39 seconds. Okay. And again, good.
Oh, you're getting that specific language by type in your endpoint.
Mm-hmm.
Don't you want all of them for that get?
Yeah, I want the specific one.
Oh,
return the language, the developers in there, because the item here is there, and I have a get developer there.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Thought it would. That's what I was expecting. Surprised it's not. I'll find all. If the back reference still keeps that going. Very possible. got to get developers in here now. Set developers.
Maybe the back reference means that it can't get it.
Well,
at
I'm
all.
thinking, yeah. I didn't fully test this one because I usually don't use this version of it. I use the interface item stuff. That's what I was afraid of, that it won't do it. I have to set up another version of this. And unfortunately, you can't mix and match these. You can't put JSON backreference and JSON manage reference on this. If we wanted to have that, we could have developers and we could have devs as well. So you have developers and devs. And the get devs would be the manage reference, and developer could also have languages and lang, L-A-N-G, langs as a back reference. So we would have that two-directional item. That makes sense? That's one way we could also do it as well. Since it would all have the same settings here, it would still work. We would pretty much just copy this item, but create the JSON back reference and just create it again. But I don't like that. I don't want to do that, so we're not going to do that today. If anyone wants to test it or see it themselves, go for it. I want to also introduce the other variation of it though, which is the, like I said, interface items. So what I'm going to do here, I'm going to come to the package. I'll start with a developer package. I don't know why I made that capitalized, so we're going to rename that. Dang it. Package should be small d, so you can know the difference between the package and the object. I'm just going to drag developer in and confirm the refactor request. All right. I'm going to do the same thing for all of these. I'm going to create a package for each one.
Okay.
Once again, wait, what the? Don't want that. Go away. Yep. All right. So I'm gonna do this, and then I'm going to do interface. So new class interface. And this can sometimes be tricky, the naming side of it. We're going to call it devlang. A devlang or developer language, I'm going to call it devlang just to make it a little simpler on myself. And all it's going to have is going to have the getters of what we want. All right. So we'll do, let's see, what data from the language do we want to include in a instance of the language that's underneath the developer? No, I want get name. Get talent. That's the information I want. Now I could do the ID if I want, but for now we'll just do this just so I can show you that I'm only going to get the name of the tag and that's it. All right.
Mm-hmm.
Next, I'm going to do, I'm going to make sure that this is right again. Make sure I got it right.
Isn't that implements?
Yeah, that's it. Here now, and under developer, I'm actually going to change this from language, a list of languages to a list of of lang. So it's since it is an implementation, then it's all of those objects, but whenever we pull that list or that array of those items, so I'm gonna get rid of the reference, by the way. One moment. And we do have to update these two guys. So in our set and get, these are going to be languages, going to be lang. Okay, going to change these up a little bit. Set. Oop, right. The constructor. I should have done the refactor phase on it. I keep forgetting I can refactor signatures as well. That one. Ooh. So, because it's implementation of it. Oh. Do that for a second. Like thinking of something else right now. Because what I can do is I can do this, and I remember in the next part, one of the other things you can then do is we can now change it up where when we do this item, we can do find by object. We're going to modify or set up a one we do. Oh, I also need the get ID. We do want get ID here. Forget about that. I do need that. That may actually be why I didn't like it, actually, when I think about it. Class.
Crossed by Hibernate annotation exception.
Language repository. Do line. Got to import the list. So they're going to do kind of an override, I believe. That I don't want to do. All right. Might need to check on this again because my notes are not valid on this now. So I'm going to do this on Thursday, actually. And we're going to move on back to the relationships because yeah, I do want to show this again, right? The moment we have those annotations. So let's go back to those. But we do want this because we are going to use these at one point. So especially for like the user profiles and stuff like that, we are going to use these. No. One thing we could do technically, though, I will say, is we could do this. That is something we could do. and this would actually work, and it would give us a list with just these 3 items. We're already kind of getting that because of the back and forth reference. So we don't really need this yet, but if we wanted to make sure the other reference goes through, we could. Exactly what I'm looking for. So I'm going to double check my notes on this, and we will cover this again on Thursday. So I want to double check on this, make sure I got my notes right, because I had these written, but I didn't have time to test because I was dealing with the other item. Yeah, let's go ahead and move on though to the other and the other item. Let's go back and we'll put back the there we go. Developer. Manage reference still there. Good. Let's keep that for now as a way to fix our infinite looping items. So we're going to do the same thing though before we move any further though. I do want to do the same thing to our geek outs, by the way. So in this case, we want the geek out to actually show the store, means to show the developer. So we're going to make the geek out the referenced one. Correctly. In this case, we're going to do here managed reference, and the developer, this is going to be the back one. Yeah. That's it. And developer, yep. And the geek outs. There they are. That's good. So that. I'm just going to put back the getters and setters now. I'll put back the getters and setters. Back in geek out. Get. No. Oh, we do have the getter and developer for setter, getter setter for developer, right? So good there. Make sure these all work now. Why?
Okay, good. You are getting that too.
I like it. Yep. Didn't understand the reference, so I'll go ahead and clean that out for a moment. I gotta double check my IDs, my references for it, my notes. Yeah, I wasn't originally going to cover these till we finished up all the repositories, but because of the issue we had yesterday, I wanted to try to cover that early. Shouldn't have done that. I was going to stick to my reference, stick to my plan. Go too far off the record and I can mess with myself. So let's pull up our map again. See what items we want to do next. What item we're doing next. So anyway. Kill that out there, good that. We're going to keep the deviling item here. We are going to want to use that those items at some point, or at least keep the packages. You know, delete the interface at least for the moment. Again, we're going to cover that most likely next week after we get through all the references, because we're going to need those later.
So delete the interface, refactor, save delete. Is that what you did?
No, I did delete, but I didn't click on it yet because we do have to remove the extension. So or the reference, which I already did though. But, oh no, language repository. I'm in the wrong repository. So yeah, delete that. And then all right, it's implemented. So language. Move the implementation of dev language. There we go. I can delete. There it goes.
You just did the delete, right? Just a flat out delete.
Yeah, I used delete, but I did remove the reference to it from language repository and from language itself, the fact that it implemented it. So we're going to remove those for the moment. We're going to put those back later on. I'm going to use those later. So and I wanted to cover them so I can prepare for it. Cool. Ooh, now what? Yeah, didn't we have Find the developer ID. Here. Oh, Giga controller. Wait, when did I remove that here? Oop, okay, hopefully you guys didn't see me do that. I don't remember deleting that. Because I hit a key or something after highlighting it. Whoops. Not sure how that happened. Put that back. Let's complete on this. All right, back up. All right, so languages, make sure that still works. Pulls up, good. Pull up a single developer, looks good. Pull up multiple developers, all good. Let's pull up the geek outs. It's fine, we can see that it pulls up the ID, the developer, and because the developer is the managed reference, we get the languages with them, we get the content there. A lot of if you notice again, we pull up the developer, we don't get the geek outs from the developer because we just want the profile. We don't necessarily want their list of all the geek outs whenever we pull the list of developers. That would be excessive information, right? Think about if we pull every single geek out from a single developer, when we pull that developer profile, that could get really long. With the geek out system, we're only going to pull a single developer at any moment, right? And with the language system and the developer language, we're only going to pull the languages that specific developer uses. So we're trying to minimize how much data we're sending back and forth. Again, we do want to make some smaller variations of the simpler variations of it, but we will look into that later on. All right. We want to clean some of these up. Because everyone wants to have this just send back the names of the languages. We don't care about the tags, the IDs potentially. So we want to have this send less. We also may just want from the developer the ID and name of the developer for the geek outs. We may not want all this additional information later on, right? Sense? Good. So the things we'll be looking into later on.
I'm trying to.
Hopefully Jeremy's back. Everybody's leaving. Where's everybody stepping away today? What's going on? Something going outside that I'm missing? Like 3 people BRB right now. Where's everybody heading off to? Maybe it's bathroom. You had a full hour that you could have gone to the bathroom.
I can't seem to be able to add languages to my developers for some reason. I'm getting a unsupported media type.
I know what that is. Show your screen. Good.
So I'm getting an
Yes, ma'am.
unsupported media type, right? This is how you I add it. I'm going to developers too.
Right.
I'm just gonna get it, and then that is me. I have no languages right now, so I'm trying to do a put, which is these 2 languages.
Right. Your hard raw JSON. Go to headers for a second. Roll up.
Oh god. Yes.
There's application JSON. All right.
Maybe something wrong in my code itself, and like in the
Go
maybe
back.
I'm thinking here, like in the in this.
Oh, right. I know what it is. I realized it. Go back to your
Postman?
body, actually. Yeah, for a second. Well, maybe not. I think I know what it is.
Just path 2.
Body again.
Oh, try again.
Body.
Oh, sorry.
No worries. No.
Unsupported media type.
But it says path that says 2. Developers number 2. Oh, that's because he's calling that. Okay.
Yeah, he's doing it a different way than we did it. We didn't do it through that. We added the ID of our developer in the body of it. That might be it. Let's go take a look at your route now.
The code right here.
Specific route. We'll put
Oh.
mapping of adding in a language.
Oh, so what should be language controller?
No, we did on a developer. So this is what I was expecting, by the way. So our put mapping for that was slightly different. For adding a language to the developer, we did another put mapping called put mapping / lang.
Oh, I see. I see.
I don't see anywhere here that you're actually doing that.
No, I think okay, maybe I didn't do that one because this is just to update information, I guess.
Yeah. Which, by the way, we're going to end up removing that line. For if language is not equal to null, update languages, because they're actually going to be the only way we want to modify languages is through the add or remove language route.
Okay, yeah, I was kind of like fully leaning on this line right here. I'm like, oh, this should do it. This should.
Nope, because that doesn't,
Okay.
that's handling a list, not a set.
Okay, but I do need something like exactly like this, which is just that the
I'll
route.
put
I'm just
above,
gonna.
because again, we don't want to make, we want to make sure the, no, hold on, don't do that, don't do that, don't do that, don't do that.
No,
I
no.
changed that.
No, I just copied it
New route, new route. Oh, why'd you copy it though? Don't copy
because
things.
because I'm gonna do another put mapping.
Yeah, we're not doing a whole thing though. We're only doing like 2 lines.
All right.
Remember, copy pasting like that is kind of bad. You want the repetition.
Okay.
And we want this above that one.
Very good.
Otherwise, it's going to potentially incorrectly map to that because the ID doesn't necessarily have to be a number. What's going to happen is that anything you put in the second field in that field is going to be identified by that route and attempted to be converted. So we need to
see.
put it above so that language. So just put / language gets identified as we're adding a language.
I'm gonna do the same thing, public at response body. And developer add language.
Yep.
So
We're gonna do the request body type, the request body. So no path variable this time. Developer updates.
updates, I'm sorry. I always do that. And then I need to create a new developer here.
You got to pull the developer. Yep. Pull up the developer.
Yes.
Get the developer. The ID is going to be in the update object, not in the path variable. So it'll be updates.id.
Oh, it's not pulling the so.
Not quite.
Oh,
Line 59 as a reference.
oh. That's why I couldn't find it in the first place. I am skipping a step there.
This is a lambda expression. Yep.
Now I can do the not found. That's right.
There you go.
And then this is where you did something like
We
just
merged sets. So we did developer.languages.addAll. Then we did updates.languages.
oh, just languages.
We can do get. We can do get. It's fine. Yeah. You just want the language set.
That'll do it, right?
Yep.
So I just have to rerun the code, and then instead of using the ID, I just
Haven't returned yet, by the way.
What happened?
You didn't return yet, so you added it, but you also didn't.
Oh, geez. Okay.
Did you? Yeah, you did save. But wait, hold on. What? Why do we have language in there twice? Wait a minute. You already had that there. What?
I'm so confused.
I believe IntelliJ added the return statement when you try to
Hold
run.
on. This is the same thing, right? Okay, so let me do
Same
this. I
method.
think I may. Oh my god, I may be wasting everybody's time here. I think all I have to do is just hit.
Oh no, you need to return to go back to that method.
Yeah, I
Still
mean,
developer. Hold on. It's still developer/language. But did you just delete it? It's developer/language. The API. I don't know, you got go back to that.
to hit to Postman.
Postman, yeah.
Mhm.
But I don't know why you deleted developer, is what I'm trying to say. Why do you get rid of developer? So developer/language. Now try sending it.
I don't think I updated it. Give me a second. I'm not running it right now.
Right, you're right. You tried to rerun it and it crashed because you have the same method in there twice. So go back to your code.
I do need to return
and
something here.
Return, yeah. So you deleted the other one of it. So yeah, that's fine. Now you just need to return developer.save. Or sorry, repository.save developer. That. There you go.
I'm sorry.
No worries, most people here just did a nice refresher of the same method we did yesterday, so it's all good.
Okay, so now I'm gonna send it. Now it's gonna work, and now we're gonna be happy. Not support immediate type though.
Mhm.
Hmm.
Hit
This is
send.
exactly what you have though.
Send
No, I
it.
didn't. Put developers language.
More JSON body.
Don't you need an ID of the developer
Oh,
that
right,
you're
yeah,
adding
you
that
need
to?
ID. So yeah, on line 1. enter.
Oh, because yeah, that's right. You know what? I'm confused because I'm doing it that way on my car rental. I don't have to, okay, so I have to add the ID.
Quotes,
Yes, sir. And then 2, which is me.
comma,
And then comma. And then now it's gonna take it.
should. What's it saying with the media type? You're
Let me
sending.
see. Let me see if I am developers. Let me see if I'm the correct person. Yeah, I'm trying to add it to me. ID 2.
But again, that's
I-
not sending the body. So what it's trying to say is that the unsupported media type is saying the content type of the body is wrong. So you know what? We're going to create a new version of this. So copy the content in that body there.
So all this.
Type it originally, but yeah, copy the body stuff. Just we don't type
Oh.
it again.
Mhm.
Create a new request.
So just get.
Plus symbol at the top right.
Okay.
I feel like this one is broken. So we'll do a put request.
I gotta get the language, all right?
HTTP localhost. You copy again, you just overwrote your other copy, so
No, I didn't copy it. I just, yeah. So I'm gonna do body
body, yep.
raw JSON,
Mhm.
and then this, right? And then paste it
ID, and paste, yeah. Should work.
like that.
Yep. That looks correct.
It does. And this is, I'm gonna do a put.
Put and then developer / language.
Language, yeah.
Right here.
Mhm.
Okay. Well, it doesn't like me.
What the hell? Go back to IntelliJ?
Mm,
Is there an error? I mean, there's an error there, but is there an error in Spring
Yeah,
Boot?
can we see IntelliJ, please?
This right here.
I think I do see an error message there.
Yeah, it's, hold on. The
Failure
thing's
to
doing away.
evaluate Jackson.
I've had that happen too, and that hasn't been an issue.
No, it means it's not able to convert it to a JSON object.
Oh, I haven't had it that much.
I mean, we've been trying a bunch of times.
Yeah, it's trying to read it and it's not reading it correctly. So let's go back to your Postman again.
Well, he doesn't have language there as part of his put mapping.
Oh, wait, what?
On put mapping, he just has /ID. He doesn't have /language.
Above one.
That's the one above it.
Yeah, but on the one that you're looking at, is that?
No, look right above. He's hovering over it.
We're working on this one, right?
Oh, okay. I'm sorry. I thought it was the one below it.
All good. That's what I was calling. So I was like, no, we're fine on that. No, what's happening is that it's not parsing his JSON. You know, for the fun of it, go back to Postman.
Mhm.
It's telling us that it's not parsing the JavaScript object, so the JSON object. Go back to Postman. Yeah. All right, it takes a second to load. Just a second. So let's see
Can you just do one instead of two of them? See if it works?
here.
Just do one.
Oh,
Or-
here, click here.
Yes.
Hit enter. Click here. Hit enter. Back and put that back one tab.
Wait, like so.
Same thing on the other one.
Okay, do the same. Okay, give me a second.
Really? It wants spaces?
We're gonna find out. As I said, for the fun of it.
Do I need to put the ID back? Like,
I need
because
that.
it,
No. I would have told you that.
all right.
Hit
So
send.
just send it like that.
Still doesn't like it.
Okay.
Yeah, just do one of them then. Just give it ID 2 then. ID 1. You have languages in your database, right?
I do, yes. I'm gonna get my languages. I'll show you.
That's fine.
And you can see here, there's ID1 Java, ID2 JavaScript, ID3 Python.
Good. Okay. Good enough. That's all I need to do.
So just gonna add one then instead, right?
Let's try that.
And supporting media type. API developers language.
Mine still works, right?
Do I, maybe something to do with my pathing here?
in developer, it is called languages, right?
Yeah.
Languages,
Yeah,
a set of languages, yeah.
Yeah, okay.
I'm sure it's a line of code that I have differing from you guys. Because again, I know I won't, when we were having the issue yesterday working, I had to step away for a second, so
Oh, wait a minute, I'm getting the same
Could you be
thing.
using square brackets on line 3?
Hold on. Wait a minute, is the stupid JSON mapping thing we just added messing with it? The managed reference and the JSON back reference. I wonder if that's messing with it, because I just tried to do it myself. Now I'm getting the same error message.
oh, really? Should I comment them out for a moment and try again without them? So manage is the developer, and in the back is this. Let me try that.
Yep, not compatible with managed type. So yeah, with the, why is that giving me issues now?
Okay, now it took it, but it took it. It did it.
Try another one now.
There we go. You see?
Oh,
So try adding another one. So I'm gonna do.
not bad. Wait, what happened? Wait, hold on. What did you do? How did you make it work?
I just removed the tags.
Right, but
Commented, I,
those
con-
for
I
listing.
commented them out. Manage reference.
Yeah, well, I knew that was a problem, but that shouldn't be causing a problem.
Apparently it was, because I mean, it did it now, fine.
Need those though.
So developers. Yeah, I have my language there. Sergio 1, Matt 0.
On the nose statement there.
What if I try to add another one? But I'm not getting the nested problem we were having before, though. Shouldn't I be getting without the tags a nested hell here? Oop, actually, yeah, sure, that's fine. 3. I'm gonna get. Yeah, it's working perfectly. Unsupported media type. What if I add them now that the languages are added? Yeah, that's definitely what's causing.
Yeah. Shouldn't be causing a problem. Backwards, but 1 second, I'm testing something quick.
Failed to evaluate Jackson deserialization for type.
Yeah.
Man, these words.
So, I'm reading Stack Overflows. There's some of them, I almost have the same problem with field JSON back reference caused an error. I replaced it with JSON ignore. I wonder if that one will work. But
I handle manage back reference
I'll
before.
actually try that myself.
Not compatible with manage type.
Double checking something I've forgotten on my reference system.
Or is available to allow him.
Hmm. All right, I gotta play with that more because that's not supposed to be what's happening. Should still be able to add it. Even if I manage with the manage references. Why is that complicating it? Oh, it's annoying.
To indicate that annotated property is part of a two-way linkage between the fields.
Some of these, I was looking at this answer here on this website, how to solve JSON. They use the manage reference, but they set it on a private set role and they make a new hash set to role. And then on the back reference, they make a hash set on the user or the other one they're attaching it to.
Sergio, stop sharing for a second. Jim, share your screen.
Yep.
That is, 'cause
I was looking at this here and they were doing this little reference down here
mhm.
and they were setting this here. You got one to many. And then they add the reference here to this hash set.
All right.
And they reference this to a hash set also.
Right. That's the kind of set again. Set is just the interface. It's not, you know, they're just setting a specific set type, which we could try, but
But I don't.
I was going to fix the issue we're having right now, though, with the JSON item, because it's saying it doesn't like the fact that it's in a managed type. Which is weird.
Fields. There is role.
But yeah, because the set is just the actual like object, and hash set is just the like an implementation or
It is an interface. Hash set is the actual
it,
object.
yeah. But I don't know if this is something you already researched like in this manner, or was it a different one you were looking at?
Again, I personally didn't want to do these infinite looping systems today because I was going to want to do more of the actual relationships. But since a lot of you guys were dealing with the issue for some reason in your personal projects, even though we got them resolved in my project, I thought I could cover them early. But now I didn't realize the managed system could cause issues with our puts. How annoying.
The other one I was, like I said, I saw was one that you put on the back resource called it was JSON ignore as a tag. It was a NAT tag.
Yeah.
But I mean, I looked at the explanation, but I don't know if that was what you're trying to do or what that is, what that would be helpful or not for you.
I'm checking out something quick on this. Type. Just gonna use JSON identity info. That one's a little more complicated. I don't like that, but too, so I want to check something on my side quick. I'll show you guys the yucks. Annoying, so I don't want to use it right away.
Oh, okay.
So we're going to be two more seconds. That goes. Oop. Right. No. Yeah, that actually going to do here. Wait, what? No, hold on. Oop. All right, I'm going to show my screen. You guys can actually watch if you want. I'm trying. Where did Zoom go? There it is. I'm building something called the identity info. This thing tells it how to build a JSON object for it. It's more complex than I wanted to go over today. I want to do more testing on it first, but I'm not liking the referencing anymore. Those are really just aggravating me now.
Hmm.
That's how to set up again. I have not fully tested this. So I don't like the fact that I'm using it today. Gotta be that system. Oh, wait a minute. No. I know what I do. Right. Go to class property is going to be languages. Property we're trying to give the identity for, and the scope is the ID number along class, or in this case, it's going to be language class. Where we have first our class. This is a result, so that should be fine. Developer. Identification. Object ID identification. Whoops. So it is long. ID. Property, we told it what language is property. Oops, on class is ID property. Still no. Property within developers. What? Capital T? Did I do that? Oh, I did. Gotta be very, very careful with code.
Telling you.
You guys are very much aware.
Yes.
Every single character makes a difference. All right, so I got a server error at least, but we're making progress. This is the key. As long as you're getting new changes and things are changing, at least we have a chance of finding out what's going on. That's what it's not like. That's the exception.
No.
Developers. Or let's use ID actually. Try that for a second. The thing here is we're trying to get it deserialized correctly. Oop, I forgot the gamma. The concept, so what's happening is that we're deserializing and serializing an object from being a Java object into a JSON object. And what's happening is it's struggling to deserialize it right. I think they would have a simple solution to this at some point. I'm trying to inform the system how these items should be serialized. So that's not right. So we might bypass this today. Oh, whoops. I still have the references open. Those. I got those. They're gone. Let's Geek Out have one still. Oh, yep, you have the Geek Out one still, I think. There's a reference one directional. Grab that again. That in there. Run. can't have a managed reference without a back reference. No, the nested item's kind of back. That's,
Well,
it grabs everybody once, so we're close.
what? Why don't I get the nesting problem though? Maybe.
So again, I've been making some changes you guys haven't seen. So I got rid of all the
Oh.
managed references, the managed and the back reference, and I added these JSON identity info items. For it to generate or serialize it. So what I'm currently getting right now is it's only serializing each item once. So when it sees language 3 for the first time, it pulls it in and brings it in. Now it's not, it fills out Travis because I'm ID 4. So if I'm using Travis, brings in his languages next. So then he brings in his geek out. So he brought in his geek out. Developer 2 though is Travis, so it's not going to deserialize that again. It's not going to bring that in again. I already have ID 2. Language 3 has already been deserialized up here, so it doesn't serialize it again. But then does ID 1, we haven't serialized ID 1 yet, so then we bring in Java, the developers 2 and 4, so Travis and myself have already been brought in, so it doesn't bring it in, but then brings Jim in, brings in his geek outs, and his one language that hasn't been serialized yet, so we're getting there. So I might leave it like this for the moment until I can verify exactly how I want to set this up, because like I said, I thought I could do a quick version of it with the reference, the managed reference and the back reference system to get a quick version of it. That failed horribly, so that's fun. This is a version of it we do want to utilize, but we want to make sure it only goes one down. So that's the key item there. So I'm going to get this prepped for Thursday. So we will touch base on this again on Thursday, but we are going to use the identity info system. And I think just making sure it only goes down one level later on. So I will verify that later on. I know that there's other generators. So for example, but now we're going to use this to at least minimize how nested our systems get. All right. That's the key item we're going for right now is we're trying to get rid of those nestedness. But like I said, I'll confirm this whole process for Thursday. We'll fix this up on Thursday. But for now, we can use those for the moment. So all we're putting in here is just we're using the property generator class item, and you're just putting in the ID of our item. All right. Straightforward. All right. I will dig deeper into this, make sure that this is set up right so we don't get those nested items later on. All right. I'm very confident there's an annotation that I'm just forgetting right now for these lists that can tell it what to pull, what to showcase when it comes through. So I just got to double check what that is. 9 geek out, sorry, over here. That serializes it a certain way, and I just haven't set that up yet. All right, so for now though, let's get to it. Let's move on to our next relationship. This will be the simpler one because it shouldn't have the massive nesting items. We're gonna do the one-to-one developer to avatar, which is your vehicle to location. So this should be the simplest one out there that we're going to build. All right, so new model, so new package. For me, that's gonna be avatar. We're still going to add both of those annotations now. So entity, our JSON identity info, generator. Equals small g, yeah, generator equals generators, isn't it? Object ID generators, right. Generators, property generator dot class. Property equals ID. For avatar at ID. Generated value, strategy. Phrase again, language, that is going to be our generation type, right? to identity. Yeah. So far, so good.
Yeah, just hold on for a second there.
Yep.
I have to get this stuff
Thank you.
down.
Private long ID. That's the last one.
Okay, I think I'm all caught up.
Anybody else? Anybody else? It's good. All right, I'm gonna say that is good. So all we're gonna do here is gonna do private. It's gonna be a simple one. String URL. This is gonna be a string representing the location, the internet-based location of our item. All right. Let's see. Yep, that's good. So I'm gonna do here next is generate the constructor. We'll do none first. We'll do it that way this time. Let's generate other constructor with the URL string. Oh, why am I doing that? Don't do that yet, actually. Hold on. Because we are gonna, this time we're gonna do it the right way. Let's create our one-to-one now. One. Import, so. Yep. So the one-to-one doesn't necessarily need the join table, to be honest. This one isn't as necessary because the one-to-one will create it for you. Make sense?
Mhm.
And the other best thing about the one-to-one is we don't necessarily need to put it in both systems. You can put a one-to-one solely inside of Avatar, saying that, hey, Avatar has one item, and through that, we can also flow the other way. So we don't even need to put an Avatar field here if we don't want to. We can, but it's not needed, if that makes sense, right? And that'll also help with that lack of looping back around. Sound good?
Mhm.
That's another thing we could probably look into do. We could probably do as well. The loop arounds. Something to look into later. All right. All right, we got that. So I'm going to showcase this one way kind of item, this one-sided one-to-one relationship for you guys. So I have that in there. We're doing that. Generate constructor. Let's do here and do another generator. Because it says all three. There we go. There's our object. Looks happy, right? Next up, let's create our repository. Keep this up very, very simple for you guys, very straight, because we haven't really done anything new yet, so don't worry too much about it. So we had one line that was new. Let's go ahead and create our controller. Cross origin, rest controller, and at request mapping. API /avatar. All good?
Yes.
Alright. Anyway, don't want to change this. To realize though, are we ever going to want to pull the avatar directly, or are we only ever going to want to get the avatar from the developer,
From the developer.
right? I'm actually going to keep this blank for the moment. We're actually going to change it up a little bit. And go ahead and get rid of the set and get developer under avatar. I'm going to go ahead and get rid of here, here, and here. I'm going to get rid of here. I'm actually going to keep the entity existing though. We're going to create the one-to-one from developer side. So one developer facing. That makes sense?
Okay.
So we'll create it on this side. So at one private avatar.
Just because there's no way we need to reference the avatar to the developer, we just need to
We're
reference.
never going to be pulling avatars, right? We're only ever going to pull the avatar from the developer or add the avatar from the developer. The developer's adding an avatar. We're never going to be adding the developer to the avatar.
Right, so, I mean, it's just gonna be avatars on the thing. We would not know who they belong to unless we saw the picture and you know
Exactly.
who they were.
And so we'll go ahead and update our constructor. That quick, and then just add the two getters and setters at the bottom. Do it that way. Still want the repository, but what we're going to do differently is we're actually going to not use the controller for avatar here. We're actually going to do it inside of developer controller. And how we're going to do that is going to do another auto wired private avatar repository. Are you? Avatar repository.
And this is in the developer controller?
Yep.
Okay.
So be aware that you don't have to, a controller can have multiple repositories if it needs to be able to pull that data for some reason. Even if that data isn't necessarily connected through a relationship, if it still needs access to that data in some way, shape, form. So do be aware of that.
Interesting.
Mhm. Cool. So let's do another post put mapping. In this case, we're going to do a post actually. In this case, yeah, let's do a post. Slash photo. I'm going to use response entity here for the moment because maybe it does fail. Maybe we fail at saving or we fail at the URL. We'll see. Maybe not. The whole developer. We'll go ahead and add photo. Request body. In this case, though, we're actually not going to accept the developer per se. We can actually accept an avatar if we wanted to. We could accept an avatar as a body. The downside of this, of course, if we accept the avatar, we won't be able to get the ID of the developer through this. So that means we would have to do /ID/photo like this. So we do get ID /photo like that. So we get the post and we get the developer ID in the URL. And that way, the only thing we need in the JSON body of our request is the URL of the avatar. Simplifies our JSON object, right? That's one thing we do. The other thing, of course, we can do is still accept a developer body. And that will have, of course, a avatar object inside of it with the URL with no ID. Make sense? So really good.
Mhm.
If we do this version, what we will do is we will do oh wait, no, because that'll have to. Yeah. Hold on. Dot get avatar dot set ID dot get ID. So most likely we won't be expecting our system to provide the ID on the avatar object in this case. So I want to make sure we set it, just make sure it's safe. You know what? I want to do something simpler. I want you guys to put a test to JPA to see how effective JPA is. So we're expecting a Java object. The simplest JavaScript object we could get for this would be that I use the developer ID. Remember that. I'll say Jim. Get avatar. URL. Something like that. Something like that. Makes sense, right? That's what we were expecting for this kind of object. The question is JPA smart enough that if we were to save this developer object by adding, by saving this developer object or doing what we did above and doing similar to what we did in the put mapping, would we actually get this? So we found the developer. So we did these steps. Here, let's grab this again. Did dot set avatar to dot avatar. That. And then did return repository.save developer. Get rid of response. So if we did this, we did these 3 lines here. Is our system going to be smart enough to actually create the avatar record in the avatar item by actually saving it by saying, hey, this doesn't exist yet. I need to create it in the database. Or is this not going to create an instance in the database? What do we think? Is JPA smart enough to create this record? What do we think? And on top of that, what if there is already an avatar in the table for this person with a one-to-one connection? Would it be okay with overwriting? Would it create a new record? What would it do if we tried to send the exact same request with a new URL? What is JPA going to do here? Is it fair for you to think that any of you are actually going to know this answer?
I don't think I have enough information to figure that out about how JPA works.
Right. But again, we can assume that one of these might work. Maybe it could work, right? We could be like, well, maybe it works, or at least let's see what it does, right? And that's the thing I want you guys to feel more comfortable with. Feel comfortable, like, you know, let me just try this. It seems legit code, right? I want you guys to feel more comfortable just saying, like, you know what? I have no idea this is going to work. It's similar to the code down here. It kind of looks like it makes sense. So you know what? F it, let's try. All right. The goal is not to be afraid of trying things first and then adjusting till it actually gets it to work.
So a question is, does a post overwrite? Can overwrite? Is a post and a put kind of the same? They kind of just post, or
in modern HTML, yeah, a lot of people will use post and put. We'll use post instead of put nowadays. So Not
They-
everything
they
uses
both
put.
do the same thing, like put just doesn't like will allow overwrites where post wouldn't or something like that.
Mhm.
They don't have like special, okay,
Just like you technically don't need to use delete to delete something, you could do a get and have the get actually delete something. It's just the commonality to use the certain verbs so that you know it's a little more explicit what's happening, what you're trying to do.
yeah. I just didn't know if there was certain restrictions
Nope.
on, that's why they had different ones. All right,
Not at all.
let's see. Let's roll the
Let's see
dice.
what it does. So we'll go ahead and do over here, we'll do a post.
No, no more dice rolling.
API developers / photo.
Sergio, just your mic.
You did blow out there, yeah.
I-
You came
I'm
out
so-
loud.
I'm too close to it. It's a game. It's a game, bro.
Don't you have to first put in, oh yeah, you're posting, I'm sorry.
Yep.
Shit. Maybe.
Well, first, the ID of the user. So we'll go ahead and do Jim.
I was gonna say, don't you have to post a URL first before you can post
I just lowered it a lot there. Oh, it's not even catching
Hold on,
now.
hold on. I'm trying to hear people. What's going on? Yeah, Jim sound better. I mean, Sergio sounds better. Jim, what are you saying?
I'm saying, don't you have to post a URL in order to post it to me?
Yeah, I'm gonna get one.
Oh, okay.
Unless you have a photo you want to put as your ID.
No, I didn't see you, I didn't see you create an avatar yet onto the database, so.
Well, that's the thing. That's what we're trying to wonder. If we give it a URL, is this method going to actually create the record in the database, or is it going to have an issue because yeah, I'm trying to connect something that isn't already saved in the avatar repository? Is our one-to-one annotation able to make JPA smart enough to say, hey, I'm trying to save an avatar that doesn't have an ID. I'm going to go ahead and create this then.
Oh, create
Or
on
it's going to yell at us that we need to create it first before we add it, or do we need to save it in the avatar repository first and then can add it to our developer? That's what
Okay.
we're testing right now.
all right.
So
Did you run the server again?
yeah, yeah, I think I did.
Okay.
But let's do this. That. Do that. Yeah. Alright,
SSH key or whatever it was.
something. Dang, I wanted that picture. No, well, that's fine. I'll figure out another one.
There you go.
There we go. That one. So, again, this is gonna take the item, it's gonna post it here to photo. It's gonna pull up Jim. It's gonna set his avatar to this avatar object that does have the URL but doesn't have an ID. And it's going to save the developer record. The question is whether or not by saving the developer record, is it going to then take that avatar item we set to it and actually generate a record, or is it going to yell at us? Or is it going to not create the record, but also not make a valid one-to-one connection? So is it not going to create something in the database, but it is going to set the object there. So what is this behavior? And there's a lot of things it could potentially do. It could work 100%. It's going to go ahead and get, okay, cool, I see what you're doing. I'm going to go ahead and create this record in the database. I'm going to save this, and I'm going to send it back as is. You say, okay, well, I did put the data there. It's saved under the user, but I didn't create the record in the database, which wouldn't really make sense because, as far as I'm aware, the what am I trying to say? The developer object doesn't have a spot for this URL, so it can't save the string without creating the record somewhere. So it needs that avatar record. So that one seems the least likely, that it will save the data but not create a record in the database. There's nowhere for it to store that URL string, right?
Yeah.
If we had any other fields, it wouldn't be able to store that anyway. So it needs to create the record if it's going to be successful. The one that seems probably one that a lot of us are leaning more towards, that it's going to fail. Saying, hey, this isn't actually an avatar record that I have, so I can't really set it with the one-to-one system. So the question is it going to actually create it, or is it going to yell at us that we need to create this item first? Let's find out.
I think I'll save it. Nope. There you go.
That's what it says. First, we can confirm which one it is. What does it say right here?
And save transient instance.
So we need to save it. So yes, so one thing we need to do first, we need to create that avatar record in the database first. So we first need to do avatar equals repository.save dev.avatar, get avatar. So you put that avatar in the avatar repository. The problem here is that if we try to save it, we're saving it without a developer ID. Am I? Wait, hold on. No, I wouldn't. I don't because I didn't do that this way. So yeah, the developer, the avatar image doesn't need to know who its developer is because it doesn't need to keep track of that. Developer keeps track of that. So now, like, we save the avatar. It has the URL and it has an ID number. Now, like, well, I'm doing this in the wrong spot.
Oh,
Here, sorry. Do that there. So I pull the developer. I can do this before I pull the developer, by the way. So I could do that first. I go ahead first and I save that record that I grabbed. I then can set that to this, not to dev.getAvatar, but just to avatar, the new avatar that was just created. And now I can save. So that's what this was telling us that, hey, you're referencing an unsaved instance of this system. So we have an avatar, but it doesn't exist in your system yet. Yeah, you got an avatar. You got something that's kind of that technically represents an avatar in your system, but it wasn't saved. It's not in a database, and I don't know what you want me to do with it.
I like how they use transient like it's a homeless instance.
Technically, is. It has no home.
It has no home. That's exactly right.
But now we gave it a home. By saving it, we gave it a home.
Transient being.
Let's reboot. Let's see if that slight change makes what we do, does what we want. So while there are times that JPA can be very, very useful in what it does, it can also fall apart. And it's like, I don't know what you want to do with this. So it doesn't do everything for you, but it does a lot. That's what I wanted to showcase here. I was slightly afraid that we were getting very used to it being very nice to us and very friendly to us. And I want to be like, hey, it's not going to always do what you want. So just be aware of that. Now I'm going to send again. We'll see. Wait, can I reboot?
Yeah, I saw. And he must not be null.
What is null? Nothing is null. What is null? Where? 958. Oh, dev, not developer. Developer didn't have an avatar yet. Wrong variable. See what I did there? Does that make sense? Good. What did I just do? Okay. God. Looking thing. I'm not sure how I'm doing it. Anyway, so see what was wrong with this line? Everybody understand what's wrong with this line? I'll read it again. It says the entity must not be null. I go down, I see what line it is. It's saying, hey, this save line is an issue. It's saying that something in here is null. Well, this I'm trying to create. So it's trying to say that this is null, that when I get the avatar, it gets null. Of course, when I look at my Postman, I'm like, no, it's not. Avatar's there. So what did I do wrong here?
You pulled that avatar out of the object that you declared on line 57 instead of out of the request body from the method.
Right. We have dev for that, for the request body. So my avatar is in the request body. My gym doesn't have an avatar yet. That's why I said entity cannot be null. That's why I gave that error message. And so that's something I do want to, I wanted to show that to you guys, one of these error messages. So I'm glad I'm having error messages right now. I want to show that first you can read the item here, and if you're like, well, this isn't fully making sense, look for that blue item because that's going to tell you where in your code, in code that you've written, what line that error was triggered. These are all when you did that save method here, it then runs through and runs these methods above here. All these methods then run, and attempting to do that, and somewhere around here is going to trigger the error until we hit the save that we ran, and all that crashed eventually. So this is your stack flow. So it's somewhere in this flow, of course, is going to be your code somewhere in here whenever you see those error messages. So just more tips on how to solve problems you have is you can also, just like in JavaScript, you can find the line that's triggering the error in most cases. Well, line of your code at least. Reboot. Last time, here we go. Not ready yet. I'm impatient. There we go. I get a little bit of a overdone here, but it's fine. Hey, we got an avatar. Look at that. Nope, can't play it. You won't do it right. Let's look at his avatar. There you are, Jim.
Kidding. Kidding. You kidding.
That fit for Lane's avatar, but better.
No, it had to be a big white cat. Big white.
Oh, okay.
Cat. I just remember the cat image because like internet's cats.
Internet and cats.
And again, script kitties.
Ah,
There's a new game coming out called
Kitties, but a lot of people have it's become a meme to just say script kitties instead of script kitties, like kids. You'll get a lot of people that hear kitties instead of kitties. So
You little script kitty.
exactly.
thank you, Boris.
I was gonna say Sergio went Russian on this there. Or German in one of those.
Yeah, it's more Russian, yeah.
That's what I felt. I was like, I felt very Russian to me.
Getting big Rocky and Bullwinkle vibes.
There we go.
Bro.
So we added the avatar. So if I go to developers again, and I pull up our developers again, we'll see there's Jim. He's got his geek out. He's got his languages. We have some nesting there, but there's our avatar. So again, got to fix a little bit more on that nesting bit. I'm going to look into more of that for Thursday. We'll have that fleshed out. I'll have a nice lesson fleshed out for that on Thursday, how we can make sure we get our serialization the way we want it to go. So we will check in on that. But there we go. We have our avatar. It gets loaded in. And this is, again, the one-way direction. So the idea here is that no one's going to be able to do in our system API/avatars get all of the pictures and just scrape our system for pictures. We actually don't want that. And so in all essence, we actually don't even need the avatar controller. We're actually going to kill that.
Okay.
We actually don't want the avatar controller. All right. Cool. The challenge to this one, of course, though, is in the situation here is if I want to give Jim a new image, what's technically going to happen here? You have to take a guess.
It's going to overwrite it when you want to put a new one in. because you-
Overwrite it? How's it going to overwrite? Does this, when I save it, does it know which record to overwrite?
No, I guess it'll generate a new one because you're saving it.
Right. And so what I will say is that in this system, we would need a system here, not that. Check if developer an avatar. So delete or modify existing avatar. Creating new one. That actually is going to be your challenge for this one, since there's only one new route that we created for this one, a simple entity with a simple record, nothing too fancy there, and we only create one new route for the one-to-one. That's going to be where your extra little challenge here is for this one. So on your project, vehicle to location. You're going to create your location entity. Again, keep it simple. the idea behind this for anyone who wasn't familiar. This is kind of the parking spot code. So it's the code for the parking spot. That can be level and row, whatever fields you feel is necessary for that to be able to identify it. We're gonna have ID numbers, but yes, it's gonna also just be able to say, hey, this is in parking slot AB31. All right, that's the idea. The idea here is that, yes, it's going to constantly change. This is going to constantly get updated and changed. And even without being rented, we might just move it to another location, right? So we've talked about how in your system, when a person rents it, we will remove the location from that vehicle so we know that that spot is available again. We won't delete it from the record, from the database, though, will we? We're actually not going to delete that location from here, are we?
No.
We will disconnect it. So that means vehicle will no longer point at that location, but that location will still exist in the database, right? Make sense?
Mhm.
Good. What was I gonna say? Yeah, so you got that. And at times we might just say, oh yeah, so yeah, well, one thing we do is, yeah, we'll move the vehicle gets rented, so it's no longer in that spot. So that disconnects it. And the other system we can do, though, of course, is just reorganize our vehicles. We can take one vehicle from one spot and just move it to another spot. And so that means we would want to overwrite where the vehicle is pointing. We don't want to, again, overwrite the actual location data. We want to just change which location it's pointing at. Make sense?
Mhm.
So those are the things you want to look into. So in your system, though, I would say that your system, though, we are going to want probably a create location method in your repository. So in your repository, we're likely going to want one. So you can just add a bunch of parking spots for your vehicles. That makes sense? So that's what I'm going to make sure let's do that in the classroom, make sure it's clear. I have it open already. Nice.
Does that, like, does one-to-one, well, the way we have this set up right now with the avatars, does that leave a lot of avatars like orphaned?
If you don't set it up right, yes, it can.
Okay,
If
I mean,
your
it's
code
just
is
like-
bad. Right
like-
now, our code is very much set up to create orphans.
because you'll have like your updated new one, and then you'll just have that last one laying around and like no reference to it anymore.
100%. That's
Okay,
why we have this. That's why I'm mentioning this. So your home is going to be twofold this weekend. One is going to be a challenge item where, again, I want you guys to add the code here to in this item itself to see, okay, check to see if the developer has an avatar. If it does, update that existing record. Or you could just delete that record and then create a new one. You could run this. Or you can take that avatar and change the URL of that existing avatar record to the new URL you were just given. So there's two ways you can handle this. Like I said, delete the existing one and create a new one. As long as we delete that one that's no longer being valid. Make sense? The other option, again, is you can take the existing record and update it if it exists, or create a new one if it doesn't exist. So the first time someone joins, they put their avatar up, you create a record for them and put the URL. From that point forward, anytime they send a new URL, we just update the existing record in the database for them. Sound good? So there's two ways you can handle it. First up. Okay. Likes. Thank you. Position. Update the route. Not orphaned database. Either. This thing. Sure. User. In other words, these two items should only happen if the developer has an avatar. If they don't, what we currently have should still happen. That's the key element. E. CNF. E. Yeah. 1, 2, 1. Relationship with one. We'll do that. We'll do it. Add one, delete one route. Delete. Location. User. Give them controller, sorry. Hold on, actually, how do I want to write this? Create. CV controller allowing you to change location. There you go. So, and if you can do that in one route, that's fine. If you need multiple routes, build them. So that's the idea. This is what we're looking for in this next one. All right. Sound good? All right. We'll work on it tomorrow, and we'll work on it on Thursday. Yep, you guys have your 1 hour. And again, Thursday, that big one's going to be all about serialization and collecting data correctly from JPA, pulling down data accurately. So we'll be looking into that relationship stuff more. We may also just discuss more the limiting kind of the back and forth items, because I guess we don't necessarily need this item here in order to, we don't need to pull that information per se. You understand what I mean? So there's more we're going to look into. And I'm going to double check what the common practices for these things are for you guys. So I'll make sure that we know how that works. All right. All right. With that being said, I think we're good. If we think I got this a little early.
What's the repository, please?
Yes, you guys need that.
And is there Thanksgiving break because it's next week? What's the
I will double check on that, but I think with what day is Thanksgiving, by the way.
next Thursday?
Thursday.
Yeah.
Next Thursday.
That we probably will have class on Monday, Tuesday.
Okay, that's good.
So we have you guys because we don't want to make too much, because we know
Usually
what we do is we do these 2 weeks off. So I gotta
Wow.
double check with Arnell on that, because that's a long time to not have class. That's usually what we end up doing. I'm gonna check to see if that's still the plan, or if we're just gonna do a single week, because Thursday, like these 3 days are not holidays at all. So we might just do a single week off this year, just so we can try to get you guys out of here faster.
Sure.
Mhm.
That's kind of what we're looking for.
That's going to be the biggest break we've had since July.
And I don't want to do that because you guys are getting so damn close. So
We had class on Monday and Tuesday last year.
we did.
Yeah,
Is
not
that-
to spoil
I-
anyone.
I didn't know, because that was my last year. No, last year. What did I do last year? In that week, because I feel like I did something.
You're doing like liar's dice with you, or at least I was. Me and Jeremy.
My brother coming in.
2020 is hard to remember. I almost said that last year was my wedding. I'm like, no, wait, no, it wasn't.
No.
do class that time? I don't remember now. God, Jesus, that was. Just goes to show, it's hard to keep track of what's been happening.
Yeah. Pandemic's weird.
It messes with your brain. We might have. And we might have had class those 2 days. It's very possible. And yeah, no class.
You have class on the 4th.
Class. Yeah. We did have class on the 4th. Yeah, we did do that. I know, I'm pretty confident we did not have class on the 24th, 28th, 29th, and 31st. I don't think we had class there, but I can't remember if we had class those days. We probably did. I wouldn't be surprised now. But yeah, most likely that's what we'll do this year. I'm gonna double check with Arnell to confirm what we want to do, if that's what the plan is. I like that idea. So again, I want to spend as many days with you guys as we can so we can get you guys done. Because you guys are getting so close to the end. It's a few more things we got to touch base on, which a lot of things that I'm touching base with you are reminding us what needs to be taught in the beginning more. So that's one of the key items, like better, like one, just first and foremost, just better introduction to Git. We're also learning, we're going to trim down some of the stuff we did in the console version of Java, because there's some repetitiveness that was not really necessary. And I do think we built a lot more objects than were needed some days. So we're going to be trimming that down a bit. We also, of course, need to make sure we have our Spring Boot. That's enough Spring Boot. We have the SQL stuff, a little bit of SQL, which actually I think they're going to be teaching a little bit of SQL in JavaScript a bit, I think, was something was thrown out a little bit, which was an interesting thought. So something I'm curious if they're going to do. So I know to speak about that a bit. They may introduce a SQL a little earlier in the program now. Yeah, you guys are definitely showing us some of the things we want to do to make sure we find the right fat. So and cut it off. So appreciate that part, of course. Let me go ahead and push that actually before I finish. Git commit 1-to-1. Again, so that whole JSON reference thing, tested it. It did seem to work with the not doing the nested, but I didn't test actually adding something once I had that in there. So yeah, not sure why that broke that. So I'm going to look into that again, see if either. So there's one or two things that we'll end up doing next week. Is either we're going to be using this identity system to make sure that the serialization works right. I'm going to find out how that. I'm going to double check on that back and forth referencing thing to make sure we can use that and still post correctly and understand how that changes. Or we'll have a whole different thing altogether because I'll find the more common way that Java handles these things. All right. I'm good.
Sounds good.
All right, everybody. I will see you on Thursday. Some of you guys I will see tomorrow. I think we're going to be doing tomorrow for the hackathon presentations. One by one day. I'm gonna text Arnell tonight to see if he's good for that. Make sure, because I think he did mention it. Yeah, we'll probably do it tomorrow.
You don't want to make it. I'm gonna be so tired.
I don't know what you want me to say. We'll check this.
Right.
If you notice that someone there hasn't voted yet, convince them to vote for a different day. So you technically can't stop you guys from messaging each other. So if there's someone that hasn't voted yet, yeah.
Really?
I don't know. I think there's only 11 voted. So I thought there was at least 12 or 13 people in the thing. So
12. But we have what, four?
To vote.
Nathan didn't vote yet. Is it Nathan? I think it was Nathan. Anyway, yeah. So I'll like I said, I'm gonna text Arnell, make sure we're still good for tomorrow. If he's still good for it, we'll do it then. Otherwise, we'll do it Saturday because it's only off by one vote. So kind of really up to what me and Arnell can do, I guess, in that case. But if we can do, if we can both do Wednesday, we'll be doing Wednesday because it did win by one. So yeah, I'll give you guys posted on that. You'll hear from me shortly, or tonight or tomorrow morning early. I'll let you guys know so you guys can plan around it. Other than that, rest of you, I'll see you on Thursday.
Sounds good. Have a good night, everyone.
Night.
Take care, y'all.
Everyone.
Yeah.
Here.